U.S. President Joe Biden announced on Thursday that he would support the African Union becoming a permanent member of the G20 group of large economies as part of Washington's efforts to re-energize alliances with a region that has taken a secondary role to other priorities in recent years. Speaking at a U.S. Africa Leaders Summit, Biden stated that the U.S. is trying to maximize collaboration in all areas. According to the United States President, Africa belongs to the table in every room where global challenges are being discussed and in every institution where discussions are taking place. At the moment, the only G20 member from Africa is South Africa, although there are 55 member states in the African Union. African leaders from 49 countries and the African Union are meeting in Washington this week for a 3-day summit that started on Tuesday and will focus on climate change, food security, trade partnerships, and other issues. Biden's remarks, as well as the summit, seek to establish the United States as a partner to African countries in the face of competition from China, which has attempted to broaden its influence on the continent and everywhere else by funding infrastructure projects. China's trade with Africa is roughly 4 times that of the U.S., and Beijing has emerged as an important creditor by offering competitive loans, often with ambiguous terms and collateral requirements, than Western lenders. Including the African Union in the group of 20 major economies will give one of the world's fastest-growing regions a stronger voice in the body. The G20 has established a common framework for assisting heavily indebted poor countries in restructuring their debt, much of which is owned by China, but progress has been slow. With a seat at the table, some African nations can advance their interests, as many are currently ineligible for debt relief under the G20 plan. Additionally, it will give them more influence over important issues like how to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic and climate change amid growing discontent that wealthy nations are not doing enough to address decades of excessive fossil fuel consumption that has contributed to global warming. Former U.S. Treasury and International Monetary Fund official Mark Sobel, who is now connected to the UNFI's financial policy think tank, praised Biden's decision. According to Sobel, the need to acknowledge the opportunities that the continent offers as well as the challenges, such as promoting growth and mitigating poverty and debt, will be further highlighted as a result. On Thursday, Biden added that he was eager to travel to Africa. Over the years, some have criticized the Biden administration for being unresponsive to Africa, echoing a common criticism of American foreign policy that has gained more resonance as China has consolidated its political and economic influence on the continent. But unlike the late President Donald Trump, who disparaged some African countries and imposed travel restrictions on 6 of them, Biden has adopted a different tone. The summit is the first of its kind since former President Barack Obama hosted one in 2014. To begin, the Biden administration pledged $55 billion for issues such as food security, climate change, trade partnerships, and others.
Over the next 3 years, working in close cooperation with the United States Congress, we plan to commit $55 billion in Africa to advance the priorities we share and to support the Agenda 2063.
After meeting with African leaders facing elections, Biden announced on Thursday that the U.S. would provide more than $165 million to support elections and good governance in Africa next year. According to a statement from the White House, Biden met on Wednesday with the presidents of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Liberia, Madagascar, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone to discuss the upcoming elections in their respective nations in 2019. The leaders reaffirmed their commitment to holding free, fair, and transparent elections when they met on the sidelines of a summit to discuss election challenges like foreign interference and political violence. The elections in Africa in 2023 will be consequential. While the United States does not support any specific candidate or party, the United States is committed to supporting electoral processes to deepen democracy in Africa, the White House said. Following a string of coups and concerns over some elections, the United States has grown more concerned about the state of democracy in African countries, which is why Biden is visiting them. Since 2020, Military juntas have seized control in Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso, causing some to worry that West Africa's post-colonial reputation as a Q belt could return. The United States stated in November that it had serious doubts about the credibility of the announced results in the elections that took place in Equatorial Guinea the previous month and urged the relevant authorities to cooperate with all parties to address claims of voter fraud. If you enjoyed this video, watch also the next video on your screen, which presents Ghana's president urging Africa to stop begging. Be sure to leave a comment, give the video a like, and subscribe to the channel for more informative video content.